A delight for everyone. Inspired by Roald Dahl's beloved novel Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory stands as one of the most cherished family films of all time. Gene Wilder's iconic portrayal of Willy Wonka, coupled with enchanting music that received an Academy Award nomination and remarkable performances from the child actors, despite director Mel Stewart's exacting standards, create a truly memorable cinematic experience. Released in 1971, this imaginative masterpiece teaches valuable lessons about creativity and self-belief, highlighting the consequences of poor choices through the misadventures of several spoiled children. The film introduced us to unforgettable elements: the coveted golden tickets, the quirky Oompa Loompas, the magical everlasting gobstopper, and the catchy tune, The Candy Man, later made famous by Sammy Davis Jr. Interestingly, Davis lobbied to play the candy store owner, but Stewart felt that a star of his magnitude would disrupt the film's realism. As we return to the whimsical world of Wonka's factory, let's embrace the adventure. The suspense is terrible. I hope it'll last. 1. Gene Wilder, Willy Wonka. The mysterious chocolatier himself, Wonka was eccentric and wonderfully sarcastic, brilliantly played by Gene Wilder, who was nominated for a Golden Globe and many think was Oscar snubbed. One of Wilder's first credits was the socially awkward Billy Bibbit in the original Broadway production of One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, opposite star Kirk Douglas. In '63, Gene co-starred in a production opposite Anne Bancroft, who introduced him to her husband, Mel Brooks. This led to his breakout performance in Brooks the Producers, for which Mel won an Oscar for Best Screenplay, and Gene was nominated for Supporting Actor. 4 years later, in '71, he had starred in 2 other films, but had the gumption to only accept Willy Wonka with one condition: his limp entrance turned somersault. Gene obviously had something very specific in mind. From the get-go, the audience would never know when Wonka was telling the truth. This specific entrance choice was so memorable and playful, the reactions of the children were genuine, setting the tone for the entire factory tour. One of the greatest comedic actors of all time, from young Frankenstein to his defeated and drunk Waco Kid in Blazing Saddles, Gene had a gift. His last role was in the early 2000s on the hit show Will and Grace. In his free time, Wilder and his wife, SNL superstar Gilda Radner, would participate in painting watercolors and donating to charitable causes. Wilder sadly died in 2016 from complications of Alzheimer's at 83 years old. 2. Julie Dawn Cole, Veruca Salt. I want it now! Veruca Salt was the bratty, greedy teen who had her poor father wrapped around her spoiled finger. This film was Julie Dawn Cole's acting debut. The I Want It Now sequence was filmed on her 13th birthday, and Cole was gifted 3 film props: a golden egg, a golden ticket, and an everlasting gobstopper. Immediately after returning from Willy Wonka, Cole landed the role of a recurring snobbish teenager on And Mother Makes 3. In 1975, she got her breakout role being cast as one of the leading characters in the BBC medical drama Angels. Cole still does act regularly as well as working as a psychotherapist since 2001. Cole is 66 years old, and her last appearance was in 2013 on the soap Casualty. It was her 4th episode for this show, her first being all the way back in 1987. 3. Roy Kinnear, Mr. Salt. Mr. Salt was Veruca's father, who really did a poor job sticking up to his demanding child. Kinnear was an acting powerhouse in England, most notably as the character Planchet in 1973's Three Musketeers. He reprised his role in 1974's The Four Musketeers and 1989's The Return of the Musketeers. Terribly during filming of the latter, Kinnear fell from a horse in Spain and suffered internal bleeding, which led to a fatal heart attack the following day. He was just 54 years old. Kinnear's family successfully sued the studio for cutting corners, and the director of the picture quit the film business as a result. 4. Michael Bolner, Augustus Gloop. Augustus Gloop is very greedy and gluttonous, often seen eating, which inevitably led to his suffocatingly tubular demise. Don't worry, an Augustus dummy was used for many of the shots of the poor boy getting sucked up into the chocolate tube. The chocolate itself was made up of 150,000 gallons of water, real chocolate, and cream. The dairy, of course, caused quite a stink towards the end of production, with Bolner describing it as dirty, stinky water. Of German descent, Bolner should be given much credit for delivering his lines, which for him were in a foreign language. But Michael Bolner took the one-hit wonder title to heart, as his Gloop is his only acting credit. One would assume he learned his lesson and decided to live in moderation. Michael now works as a tax accountant and is 65 years old. 5. Jack Albertson, Grandpa Joe. Grandpa Joe was bedridden until Charlie's golden ticket inspired him to not only accompany Charlie on the sought-after tour, but also motivated Joe to frolic about. Jack Albertson got his big break in 1958 with 20 episodes of The Thin Man. A decade later, in 1968, he won a Best Supporting Oscar for the film The Subject Was Roses. Such a gentleman Jack was, he even apologized to child actor Jack Wilde, who was also nominated for The Artful Dodger in Oliver. Jack didn't apologize to Gene Wilder, nominated for The Producers. A year after Wonka in '72, he was in another Hollywood blockbuster, the star-studded Poseidon Adventure. Most people know Jack as Ed, or the Man, from the popular sitcom Chico and the Man, co-starring with Freddie Prinze, until his terribly sad suicide in season 3. His final role was in 1982 with My Body, My Child, a TV movie released posthumously for which he actually was nominated for a Primetime Emmy. He was sadly diagnosed with colorectal cancer in 1978 and died in 1981 at the age of 78. 6. Paris Theman, Mike TV. Mike TV, the kid who is obsessed with television and westerns, hence the family name, gets miniaturized in a very psychedelic Wonka vision experiment. Wonka did warn him, kind of. After Mike TV, actor Paris Theman took a hiatus from acting to just be a kid. He would go on to found Access International, a travel service that arranged Europe-bound charter flights for backpackers. Paris also runs a photography business and appears at conventions all the time. In October 2015, his wife appeared on Jeopardy and won, twice. Theman himself was a Jeopardy contestant in March 2018, finishing in second place. Smart family. Today he's 64 and living in Los Angeles. 7. Denise Nickerson, Violet Beauregarde. By gum, it's gum. Violet Beauregarde was the chewing gum fanatic and world record holder. Denise Nickerson was an experienced child star by the time she became a blueberry. You'll certainly remember her as Amy Collins in 72 episodes of the gothic soap opera Dark Shadows. Following the success of Willy Wonka, she joined Short Circus Music Group for 130 episodes on The Electric Company. She guest-starred in the final season of The Brady Bunch as Pamela, one of the 2 dates Peter Brady had on one night. Her final acting role was when she was 21 in the 1978 film 0 to 60 opposite Darren McGavin. After she decided to retire, unfortunately, she soon discovered that her parents had squandered her savings. She worked as an office manager and accountant at a doctor's office. In 2019, following a severe stroke, Denise passed away at 62 years old from pneumonia. 8. Peter Ostrom, Charlie Bucket. Charlie Bucket is an innocent and wonderfully sweet young boy whose dreams come true one fateful day when his chocolate bar reveals a golden ticket. Peter Ostrom, now 66, does a remarkable job. But after Wonka's completion, and despite being offered a 3-film contract, Peter decided to walk away from acting entirely. You see, the Wonka shoot was very difficult for all the children, but Peter in particular due to the heavy scene load and his inexperience as an actor. And Mel Stewart didn't give the kids a lot of slack. He wanted perfection. The legacy of Willy Wonka has followed Ostrom forever, including teaming up with Dunkin' Donuts and handing out golden tickets to children for unlimited Dunkin' coffee for the whole year. Because, kids love coffee. Certainly one of the greatest films ever, even if the Oompa Loompas terrified some kids. We all crave to walk through the tiny doors and into a candy wonderland with the freedom to eat our weight in goodies. There was something magical about this film, and much of the credit goes to Gene Wilder and company. So tell us, who was your favorite character? Have you ever read the source novel or seen the more recent Johnny Depp portrayal? Tell us your thoughts in the comments below.